While waiting for the work to start, we had taken a December trip to Rome. Winter is not high season in Rome, although December is quite festive and nice there. But there's definitely a calmer vibe there in the winter, and we love to spend time there in the quieter months. A little more than 10 years ago, we took what for us was a giant leap and bought an apartment in Trastevere in the historical centre of Rome. We had friends who'd done the same thing a few years before, which made it a little less scary since we inherited all their contacts and could learn from their experience. Maybe the most valuable thing they shared with us was their architect, Leonardo, who handled the renovation of our apartment. Under his supervision and with his valuable advice, the whole thing was done in 6 weeks by highly skilled workers, and they finished precisely on the agreed hour. And I mean that literally. They were backing out of the apartment, sweeping away their footsteps behind them, 5 minutes to 12 as we were coming out of the elevator. And they did the work 100% on the agreed budget, not a single euro more. We're very happy to be able to spend time in Rome, since we're both self-employed with a lot of work flexibility, and as the girls are growing up and moving out, we try to stay here as much as we can, hoping to eventually be able to spend up to half the year in Italy, split between Rome and the ruin that is eventually to become a house. The apartment isn't very big, but it's more than enough for our needs. It's got a bedroom, kitchen, bathroom, a living room, and a small terrace. And the most important thing, lovely views on both sides. So even when we decide to stay inside for a day, we still feel we're part of the city life. Not to forget, life in the building. That's our neighbour. He loves to play loud music and we love his taste in music, so it's not a problem. We got a few new pieces of furniture, but most of our stuff is from antique markets in Tuscany, Umbria and Rome, as you saw in our video number 5 some months ago. Some of it is just here for a quick visit, as we plan to move it down to the ruin when it's no longer a ruin, but most of it will stay here, as this is more of an urban home. The house down on the coast will probably have a much simpler style of furnishing. And before you ask, we financed the purchase by mortgaging a house in Norway, as it's fairly difficult for a foreigner to get a mortgage in Italy. This was made possible because the value of our house at home had increased to a lot more than what we once paid for it, since we've done a huge renovation on it ourselves, as we also done with a few apartments before that. So all those endless hours of carpentry and masonry and tiling and painting, plus dust and sweat and arguments and crying, ended up being totally worth it. For now, we also rent out the apartment here in Rome when we're not staying there ourselves, so until we'll spend even more time there, that also helps our budget quite a bit. But enough about that. Let's go out and see what Rome looks like in the winter. Our neighbourhood, Trastevere, is part of Rome's historical centre and has always been a lively quartiere where Romans come to hang out with friends. It's a little rougher than the central parts of the city, and despite also having gradually become a tourist favourite, people still live their lives here. Locals have their preferred hangouts in between the undoubtedly more touristy spots, and even in high season you can find a calm and quiet street right next to the crowded ones. In winter, life is obviously slower also here, but the December weather is unreliable. If you're lucky, it's sunny and warm. If not, you'll have to appreciate the beauty in the grey and wet days. After all, Rome is wonderful in any kind of weather, any time of the year. Just come with me and have a look.